Is this movie set in the Christmas Story cinematic universe? I'm Seth, and it's day 34 of Ticket Stub Movie Club. Today's movie, Four Christmases. But first, what's your favorite Christmas comedy? Four Christmases is directed by Seth Gordon, who's going to be back on this list at least twice with Horrible Bosses and Identity Thief. Also, his documentary, The King of Kong, is one of my favorite documentaries ever. Might be one of the best video game documentaries ever made. This comedy stars Vince Vaughn, Reese Witherspoon, and future MCU progenitor Jon Favreau. It is amazing to see this man humping Vince Vaughn's arm within weeks of him filming Iron Man. Peter Billingsley also makes an unnamed cameo, and I believe that this is his Ghost of Christmas character that spreads across any Christmas movie that he's been in. He's building a cinematic universe, and I'm watching him do it in real time. I think the 25% on Rotten Tomatoes that this movie carries is a little harsh, because this one feels like it falls in line with movies like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation or Christmas with the Cranks. Rotten Tomatoes is out here bah-humbugging these Christmas movies, and I'm not here for it. Four Crimbuses. This one is a little worse for wear. I don't know why this one's a little torn up. Maybe I just stuffed it in my pocket funny that day when we went to the theaters. This was not my bag as a kid, I'm not gonna lie. Comedies, dramas, stuff involving relationships, basically anything Vince Vaughn was doing at the time, wasn't really meant for me. I know we went to see this mostly because my older brother was a big fan. And to be honest, I've not revisited this one since seeing it in the theaters. I think because it was so poorly received by critics, it didn't even end up on like a lot of the Christmas marathons that you see. So I've been able to largely avoid this movie until this project. And I won't lie, it's definitely not the best of the Christmas comedies that you could watch, but I think maybe we've judged a little too harshly. 25%, that's rough. Half the jokes in this movie work. I think it deserves at least a 50%. Some of the stuff now, almost 20 years later, is a little unrelatable. Like, these people have what is functionally a very perfect life. They both have jobs, they have a really, really nice place. All of their families are still together and involved in their lives. This is a really blessed time for these characters, and they're absolutely unwilling to see it, which makes them a little unapproachable as characters, I think. That's not to say that it's not relatable to want to get away from your family for Christmas, but I think if you just have good boundaries, you can tell your family, hey, I'm going on vacation for Christmas this year. We'll see you next year. There's only the rest of the Christmases left. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't a hard thing to talk about. So the movie asks you to suspend your disbelief and say, maybe these two people can't do this. And that through line does follow through the movie. They have issues with their boundaries with each other, boundaries that they've never tested by keeping things peaceful and easy instead of actually diving into the meat of their relationship. I really enjoy a lot of the joke setups. This is the style of comedy that we don't see much anymore, where it is kind of a rolling ball of joke to joke to joke, but there are like large setups and payoffs happening at the same time. I know the moon bounce scene is Reese Witherspoon's big comedy scene in this movie. It doesn't work for me as well as the satellite radio bit from earlier in the movie. I think Robert Duvall is absolutely fucking hilarious as a side character, just chirping along the way. And Vince Vaughn is doing really, really great physical comedy. We often talked about how charismatic he can be, how funny his jokes can be. His delivery is often perfect. But as a physical actor, he's a big guy, and taking some of these spills, like, I would be scared to do it. I stand at 6'1", and I've fallen off a roof before. That's not funny business. And he's able to play it like that, and I'm kind of impressed by that. Some of the odder family situation setups are really funny too. I think a 2025 redo on this movie could be really fucking hilarious, especially now with things like identity expression and alternative relationship styles and things like that could really add to what these jokes are kind of pushing for at the time, but they're not pushing the envelope because this is still trying to be a 4-quadrant movie. By the time we're going to see Reese Witherspoon's mom's family Christmas, the second or third Christmas of the setup, I think that we could have gone a little harder. We could have gone a little further. It plays as like weird and uncomfortable instead of just like observing the oddity that it could have been. Also, by the time we get to that scene, Vince Vaughn is feeling very vindicated for a lot of the bullshit he's been through in the first half of the movie, and that plays really arrogant and egotistical and unlikable, in my opinion. To see his partner kind of abandoned emotionally or even like held to this really unrealistic standard at times, it's a little difficult to watch. He's kind of fucking childish, and the payoff at the end isn't that he learns a lesson, it's kind of that he just defers off to the universe. Yeah, well, maybe next year. Blah, blah. That kind of stuff just doesn't work for me. I think a comedy has to be grounded in drama and character work for it to work. And by the last half of this movie, especially Vince Vaughn's character is aware and in on so many of the jokes that he becomes part of the audience, in my opinion. Not to say that I wouldn't enjoy watching a movie with Vince Vaughn, but if he's supposed to be one of the main characters, I want to see him go through an arc. There's no arc for him, and instead we see his partner get punished throughout the movie, and he's taking the punishment way more on the chin. It's even in the text that he's got brothers that beat him up, so he's more used to this. And so it just makes him look invincible. He's got plot armor, he's got comedy armor, he's got physical armor. Where are the stakes, buddy? You should have been more on the line in this movie. And maybe that's where we lose the other 50% of this on Rotten Tomatoes. I hope I'm not treading on any toes. I hope this isn't somebody's favorite Christmas movie, because I could definitely see it being one of those. The dynamic with him and Jon Favreau throughout the movie, oh my god, the chicken wing eating scene, that is absolutely hilarious, and goes to show that a relationship that doesn't present as perfect can oftentimes be a lot deeper than relationships that present really, really fun and perfect on the surface. There's a lot cooking underneath of here. Seth Gordon is a good comedy director. Horrible Bosses is one of my favorite comedies ever. And Identity Thief I saw in the theater, and when we get to that one, I'm excited to see if it still remains as funny as I think it was, because Bateman and McCarthy are absolute comedy giants, and I can imagine that one still being good too. I just hope it doesn't end up falling into this kind of like half-assed, less dramatic, buoyant kind of floating boat of a movie. But maybe I'm being bah humbugging and Scroogey at this point. Peter Billingsley is here in a cameo. He's also going to end up in Jon Favreau's Iron Man, because both of these movies are in production around the same time and they're sharing a lot of people back and forth. I find that kind of movie history really interesting. And since then, he's come out with another Christmas Story movie. He was also in Elf with another cameo. So that's this cinematic Christmas universe I mentioned at the top that I think he's just kind of building his way out in a really cute and fun way. Honestly, I'd like to see him make a Christmas movie every couple years. This is something that he's invested a lot of time and effort into, and when you become an expert in that field, I think you could get really, really excellent stuff out of it. I think that's going to do it for this one. Annyeong Gigaseo from Korea. We're finally here. I'm finally filming from up in our little loft on the 8th floor. We're here for another week, and then you'll just see lots of new locations from now on. If you want to support this journey or join the movie club, it's over on my Patreon. I would love to see you there. I'd love to discuss these movies way more in depth with y'all and hear your stories. Movies are subjective, and a movie club feels like a really fun way to connect with you guys on all of the movies that I'm watching across this series. Our next movie continues the comedy adventure with Madagascar 2. I'll see you tomorrow.